We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Alt season. Anyone? Do you remember the last time you saw altcoins as a group up like 2 or 3 days in a row? Well, guess what? That's exactly what's happening now. And you're going to need ideas about altcoins. And it may be a lot easier than you think. A lot easier than you think. So you want to stay tuned. For this broadcast, we're going to take you through some of the news, which has got a lot of FOMO in it. We're going to do altcoin charts and Bitcoin because, oh, by the way, Bitcoin's making an all-time high. You know, not necessarily a fan at these levels. I'll tell you why. On the other hand, you know, things like ETH, Solana, and XRP, you know, that I've been like pounding the drum on, they're going a lot higher. A lot higher. And I'll show you why. I will show you why. Okay, here we go. Big banks are groveling to the orange man because they could be next on tariffs or the naughty list or whatever. It's getting hard to understand what they're doing. I hope, and this is the key point. Don't miss this. This is a key point. I'm hoping that the orange man is getting all the negative stuff out of the way before they bring it back to a gigantic positive crypto week. Because remember, the orange man has 8% of his personal net worth in crypto. Now, this is the truly bizarre thing. Okay. Copper traders are rushing metal to Hawaii and Puerto Rico because he's going to put a 50% tariff on copper. I'm like, dude, copper is a huge leading indicator. They call it Dr. Copper. So whatever happens with copper is a good indication of what's going on with the economy. Plus, I don't know how you're going to build giant AI data centers without copper. I mean, is this, then I just said that, is this a way of taxing Web 2? Is this the AI tax? Like I said, yeah, that seems kind of crazy, and people are freaking out. We should use AI to simplify laws. Most laws are gigantic. Nothing against lawyers, but time is due to progress things. More progress. Dude, artificial intelligence, like there is all kinds of stuff out, like, oh, the robots are going to get you. The drones are going to get you. Listen, you got to figure out how to make AI work for you. And if you can't figure that out, find a decentralized AI play. Because as the guy from Singularity Net, which is now Artificial Super Intelligence Token, ticker symbol FET, right? What he tells you is that you got to get a piece of AI outside of the $4 trillion NVIDIA monster. Okay, so the orange man absolutely taking it on the chin, okay, being compared to Hillary. Watch out. Now, again, this kind of negative sentiment can swing back in the other direction if there is a positive crypto development, which is what this market is now trading, right? They're like, oh my God, you know, they're going to make all coins tax-free, or they're going to embrace the American-made cryptos. They did it before, and they're going to do it again. That's what it feels like. Right? They also are thinking they might get the Bitcoin strategic reserve. I don't think so. But if they did, you know, guys are FOMOing in, guys are covering shorts. Retail is probably initiating new longs or, you know, quant funds. Michael Saylor, this is the first time that Michael Saylor said he wasn't going to buy, right? He wasn't going to buy, and they tried to hit it, and it didn't work. It didn't work. They couldn't knock the market down. So what happens? Well, they all got to cover. They couldn't push it down, and Michael Saylor has to buy. So now they're assuming he's going to FOMO back in. Okay, Glassnode is noting that open interest in late June dropped sharply. This latest run showed open interest rising. So back in June, when there was FOMO in the market, guys were selling their positions. Here, apparently, they're not. Like Bitcoin futures, open interest is expanding. This to me feels like, because futures are used primarily as hedging. This feels like guys who are afraid of Metaplanet and Sailor coming to them, the dealers, and going, give me a price for a ton of Bitcoin. They're like, oh no, we got to start buying it now. Solana staking ETF, 74 million, 33 million in the first day. I would expect that to accelerate dramatically. Now, this is the part that you need to understand about Bitcoin versus altcoins, right? Old school crypto 2017, Bitcoin would go up a lot, alts would sit. That's Ethereum and friends. Then after Bitcoin stopped, alts would go. Okay. Now, there are reasons to believe that absent the strategic Bitcoin reserve, Fox News, which is kind of like a right-leaning, pro-administration, borderline propaganda channel, is now talking about Bitcoin at 140. So the political channel is talking about Bitcoin on Fox Business. I'm like, okay. You guys didn't like it at 77, but at 140, it's much more attractive, right? Now you're starting to see hyperbole on Twitter. It's probably on purpose, but Bitcoin will go to 150. Altcoins will mint millionaires all this year. Are you ready, or are you a scared plebe? Okay, so, good engagement farming, but there is a point here, okay? Bitcoin could go to 114. Maybe you get 120 near term, but the altcoins could go straight up for 40 days. 40 days and 40 nights, just whoosh. Because they're suppressed. I mean, it's like no one's long. Most people, and they may be short. It says headline here, somebody doubled up on an ETH short. You gotta be kidding me. Do these guys have charts? Do they know what ETH does when ETH goes up? So, if you're in an altcoin, it could go up a lot. If you're not in an altcoin, you might consider getting in one. Not investment advice, right? Because this guy is right. If you print over a 45-day period, if this thing just goes, because it probably will, because everyone's like, whoa, I don't know what to do. Should I in, out? Where should I go? I believe is, buy breakouts, as my old boss at Goldman used to say. Okay, we have SG, the original, Tyler, MJ Hits, Ben, Kevin, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. ISO 20022. Love it. It's the American-made cryptos, bro. It's about to happen. Warmon, oh no. Yav, Miguel, Christy, welcome. Major FOMO is happening, okay? Corporations are buying Bitcoin to the point where it's almost becoming a little cringe. It's like, ooh, wow, where were you guys? Okay, so I get it. Bitcoin's going massively higher. Strongly prefer altcoins. Now, here's a good statistic. According to Glassnode, in the last 24 hours, Ethereum futures had bigger volume than Bitcoin futures. This rare flip is a potential flip in trader focus, meaning everybody wants to buy the underperformers. Like, who in their right mind, except for retail, right, who are trading NVIDIA like it was a meme stock, who in their right mind is going to pay $4 trillion for NVIDIA? And, ETH is worth half of what it was at the high from last cycle. ETH gets all its revenue from stable coins. like only 60% of the revenue generated on ETH is from stablecoin movement. And I'm pretty sure we've been told about stablecoins. We have been told. I mean, Circle IPO 10x. This whole market, everything in this market could 10x. And it could do it in a month. Nobody thinks that can happen. It can happen. Because if Bitcoin stops, capital could come out of Bitcoin and flood into altcoins. I mean, that's kind of the way it's worked. Or, you have like one big, huge FOMO rush up in Bitcoin. Then maybe Bitcoin comes off, then alts go. Or maybe just alts just go. SUI is breaking out. Nobody is looking at the American-made cryptos yet, except me and you, right? XRP. The guy testified in front of the Senate. The orange man gave him an opportunity to give the Senate a commercial about XRP and Ripple. Ripple was up like 3% yesterday. Ripple should be up 25% on that. There are going to be announcements next week. Did I mention that? In other words, the government's going to pass laws, and then you're going to flip around, and corporations, to make the orange man happy, are going to be making announcements. In other words, remember that headline in the beginning about the banks? Dude, if the banks want to make orange man happy, they get into crypto, and especially Ethereum. You got to be kidding me, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. Right. So the ISO 2022 cryptos, right? ETH, not ETH, Stellar, XRP, Algorand, Hedera, dude. XDC is in there. It's absolutely, absolutely unbelievable how high some of this stuff can go, especially if they embrace it with favorable tax treatment, right? Eagle King. So ISO 20022 is kind of like a required banking upgrade in terms of how fast you move money around. That's how I understand it. So Eagle King busts out with the list: Ripple, XRP, Stellar, Cardano, Hedera, IOTA, XDC, Algorand, Quant, QNT. Where is everybody on these tokens? Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, people are all sitting around going, oh, well, there's a law enforcement, problem with the files kind of thing. Okay. That sounds serious. We'll go over the administration's reaction to the criticism later on when we talk about why antivirus and John McAfee, I'm never getting off of it. Never. But the administration may wind up giving these things favorable tax treatment. They have to, right? Because they're getting criticized so massively on the hardcore political stuff. They just won't stop. Now, on the artificial intelligence front, I'm not sure if you've heard, but Elon is out telling people that Grok 4 is smarter than any PhD in any subject, which is kind of the definition of artificial general intelligence. So, good marketing play. I watched that live yesterday. And again, there's all kinds of scare stuff about AI all over the tape. All over the tape. I mean, listen, there's one thing that was hard to listen to. The guy with the black hair, and Ian Carroll, I think his name is. Holy cow. He's doing some meetup in a bar in Idaho. Oh, my God. You couldn't even listen to it. Couldn't even listen. You want to know where you find happiness and prosperity as it relates to AI? Right here in crypto. AI agents are not going to use fiat, 1. 2, they're going to be looking for the fastest layer 1s, right, that don't have this like front running problem, right? Like injective, right? They're going to be looking for fast layer 1s. So go find a fast layer 1, because the artificial intelligence, oh my God, is not here yet. What is here is the prosperity trade in crypto. Which again, if you don't do that, I don't know. It feels crazy. Now, speaking of crazy, you got a lot of guys talking about wild upside price targets. Somebody, Ivan on Tech, thinks $20,000 Ethereum, $5,000 Solana incoming. Okay, well, Solana and ETH are way too cheap, but like these $21 million Bitcoin targets or $13 million Bitcoin targets, you may have to ask yourself what the world looks like if you got those kind of prices. You probably have a banking system problem. That said, I think people, and I think some guy who just, who's noted correctly that altcoins may wind up going up for a month before retail feels safe enough or retail figures it out that they need to get in and or they're long the wrong stuff because they're all in stunks. ETH prints 5,000. Everyone's going to go, oh, wow. 1,400, it was a disaster. I couldn't touch it. It was going to zero. But at 5,000, it's much more attractive. See what I'm saying? It's like, I make that joke like on a regular basis because it's just like you got to laugh. You got to laugh at humanity, right? It's like people were short Bitcoin. People didn't believe in front of crypto week that you couldn't run stops, and it should have dipped earlier in the week, and it did like 2%, whatever. There is no dip in that thing. There was no dip in the altcoins, really. And when you get these dips from now on, everyone's going to get afraid. I watch it with the YouTube views all the time, right? Market goes up, everyone comes in. Market stops, goes down a little, everyone out. And I understand this is a scarring period that we've been through. We've been done multiple all the way ups and all the way downs. Some of those things have taken like 2 or 3 months. I don't think this is going to take 2 or 3 months. I think this stuff is just so suppressed, and the catalysts are epic, right? Favorable tax treatment, like, buy something with Cardano and you don't have to pay capital gains taxes. You just use it as money. I mean, this could happen. Right? Besant says he wants $4 trillion running in stablecoins. Well, where do you think the $4 trillion in stablecoins is going to go? Like, that's going to be running on a dozen layer ones or more, right? I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about this. Okay, so ETH and AI coins are stealing the spotlight, right? That's very interesting. It's my guy Omar, who I know. He's like a big cheese over there now. Everybody is doing the wrong trade. Corporations are FOMOing into Bitcoin at the all-time high. They're eventually going to wind up being right. But like I said, everybody is missing altcoins because buying breakouts hasn't paid until now. Now, maybe you get a positive catalyst. Maybe it's buy the rumor, sell the fact on crypto week. Who knows? This thing could go up a lot. And if you get anything positive out of crypto week, dude, altcoins could just smoke for a month. Okay, so Bitcoin's Q2 boom fueled by corporations. Slight cringe. Bitcoin is at its premium zone. And since I've been using Luxago, I've never seen anything go through its premium zone like right away. Rumble taps MoonPay. Circle, revenue sharing with Big Exchange. XRP traders talking $6. Now, if you want to talk about hyperbole targets, $6 for Ripple is not unreasonable. It's not. I mean, if Ripple as a company, they have 1,000 people, they have a huge supply of XRP, they have a layer one that somebody needs to find something to do with it, and they have relations inside the banking system. Yeah, Ripple can definitely go to $6. Somebody comes in and just buys the company and takes all that supply of XRP off the market. Like the CEO and what Ripple holds and what's in lockup because of the lawsuit, whatever. Like $6 for XRP, or having XRP trade at $1 trillion valuation, is not unreasonable. I mean, you have NVIDIA, which is a chip company, trading at a $4 trillion valuation. You can't have money trading at those kind of prices? You sure can, folks. You absolutely can. Right. Meanwhile, traders are getting short. Like some guy doubled down on, some guy doubled down on an ETH short and got smoked. Got absolutely smoked. Now, some additional reasons why you should crypto. You should not only crypto, but you should focus on the reasons why you do crypto. Yes, we need to make money. Yes, we do. But there's another side, right? So it's painful to hear why should we be in crypto when it's down, but I think you also need to hear why we need to be in crypto on the way up. So maybe you buy the right stuff. FBI reportedly contacting media outlets and influencers, telling them, you want to back off the thing about the files or lose access. Interesting, huh? If that's what it's come down to, they better have something good next week, because it's that bad. Apparently, it's that bad. Like, this is stupid, bullish crypto, right? They've lost control of their base and their narrative. Oh, they got to get the crypto bros. It was the same thing last time, right? RFK was going to get the crypto narrative, and the Orange Man went to Bitcoin Nashville and basically took it from him. So if he doesn't deliver on that, then that's easy, right? It's easy. Like, crypto has a lot of big political organizations now. It's easy. But this is a disaster. And it's not just the right, it's also the left. So the right and the left are all doing the same thing. Like, Barack wants to define the facts, right? He's like, we want diversity of opinion. We don't want diversity of facts. Is that so? I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that everything on Twitter, the first comment is @Grok, is this true? Right? It's hard to figure out what the facts are. And we need him telling us what the facts are. Just like the other side, they're doing the same thing. Like, hey, you talk about this, you're out. Really? Okay. Now, this is interesting. So as you know, I'm a big antivirus guy. That is the meme coin attached to the John McAfee revival as an AI agent. And then what the project decided to do, because McAfee was out doing TikTok videos and shorts way before that was cool. He was doing it in 2018. And, they put out a video like 2 weeks ago about the files. And then guess what? The Joe Rogan podcast news Twitter feed picked up the McAfee video. And I was like, oh, I never heard of the Joe Rogan podcast news. Dude, it's got 1.6 million followers. Do you realize what happens to that coin if Janice McAfee, who I've interviewed, winds up on Joe Rogan because people start asking about the suspicious circumstances regarding McAfee's passing? Really? Okay. Just in case you think you don't need privacy or that sovereigns will act in your interest, another big critic of the French president is deceased. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you see this, what you do is you say, I got to go prosper. I got to go prosper. $3.5 million market cap on this. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be honest. Like, this thing about Janice McAfee appearing on Rogan is not priced in at all. At all. Right? And again, Bitcoin Cash led the rally. Bitcoin Cash is a fast version of Bitcoin attached to another persecuted figure, Roger Ver. Leadership. from Bitcoin Cash. Okay, SUI. Absolutely gangbuster breakout, right? Lux Algo triangle formation, taking out the 200-day moving average. And they must watch the show because I said everyone was scared. Like, look at how scared of the 200-day moving average, right? What is this like? It's like 24 days, like a month. What is this? Right, June 12th. So it's like a month. Everybody was like, ooh, we can't get above the 200-day moving average. Dude, SUI, fast blockchain stablecoins, boom, right? Bitcoin dominance, look out below, right? Alt season, topped at 66. Everyone's telling me it's going to 75. It's probably going to 62. That's where it's going, right? Mainly because ETH and all these other altcoins could just smoke higher. Now, is it going to be volatile? Yeah, it's going to be volatile. But, look at Solana breaking out of this Lux Algo pennant formation, doing a little dippy-do return move, probably today. And now if Solana takes out the 200-day moving average, it's going to do what SUI did and just go. And the premium zone in SUI is at $4.20. It's currently at $3.22. So that means these big layer ones, and these are big coins, right? If the big coins can go up 20 or 30%, what are the small coins going to do? Like Arrow, right? Arrow is not above the 200-day moving average. Everyone's going to put their screen on. It's like, oh, I'm late. No, you're not, man. What? Late for what? A 1 month alt season that you're 1 day into? No. I know you're not telling me that, but I'm saying don't tell me that. Somebody tries to tell you that this is like overbought or overdone. Yeah, Bitcoin is probably overdone relative to alts, right? Because if Michael Saylor can't buy or there's no supply anymore, guess what? Right? You could probably have euphoric FOMO to 114 or 120. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Like I say, get involved now because you could have mid-July volatility, right? You could have a little bit of a shakeout, right? You don't want to buy this thing in not investment advice after it's going up for a week. That's my opinion. Now, you could still rally nonstop virtually. Particularly, you could have like mid-July and the beginning of August, just go. You could do that. But, you want to start buying the breakouts or you want to ask yourself, what coins are on the World Liberty books? Avalanche, right? ETH, SEI, right? Couple of layer ones, security tokens. And again, there are going to be announcements next week from the private sector, just as sure as God made little apples. And it could be the big banks. Might not just be BlackRock. It may be the big banks with stablecoin news, right? Circle's going to partner with everybody, whatever. Coinbase could come out with something. Okay. So 2 words, get involved. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. If there was a time where it's worth taking a risk to try to catch either a 7-day rip or a 40-day rip, right? You get some, you take some profits in a week or it's 5 days, right? Then buy it all back when it goes down and then ride the wave in August. All right, folks, that is the market update for today. We will see you tomorrow.